It's gonna start getting windy now. I can't really fly, so I'm gonna start making a bunch of videos. I'm just gonna review my helicopters and just kind of compare them since I've been pretty late to the party. And here I have my Goosky S2 Legend, and right next to my OMP M2 version 2 with the EVO head, traditional 5-barless head. And I think that's better because it's more durable. It looks nicer, it looks cooler for sure, and it does perform better over the DFC head because it's just more rigid. You don't have DFC links dragging on the swash, and then when you have a fading swash, then it starts to really act up. So, and at higher RPM, they tend to vibrate or shake. Just forget all that. Just get a DFC head. It does fit on your. Just remove the canopy. I'm doing it off the camera. So with the M2 EVO or the Explorer version of this, which this is not the Explorer, but I guess you can call it that because I just switched the motor, um, the main motor to the black one that comes on the Explorer, and the tail motor. I just replaced that with the black version. I like the black look. It looks more sleek. It looks cleaner. Less going on. To me, less is more. And here's the. Oh, and then this one has the aluminum case, the servos. But yeah, so back to the fly-barless head. If you wanted to do this to your helicopter, you have to pretty much get the EVO main shaft to the motor. After doing so and installing the main shaft, you will no longer have the threaded portion of the main shaft at the bottom of the motor. You will lose that. But your set screw will fall into the hole where the Jesus nut or bolt hole for the clamping on the EVO motor. It won't go through the hole. The hole's too small for it, but it is beveled and it's kind of chamfered so that the set screw does go in there a good amount, quite a good amount, that it will not spin in the motor in a hard crash, nor would it pop through or out. It's just no way. Um, so it's not really necessary to have that bolt at the bottom, which will probably make it much easier. Much easier to replace that shaft to. That's one less screw to remove. Because the other shaft only had like a little slit, a little machine, like a squared machine area for the set screw. So I think this you'll be fine. But that's another thing. This shaft is longer. Excuse my camera. I'm just looking everywhere right now. So the main shaft, the collar will drop below that that area that's machined on the shaft for the set screw. Now, with that said, like I said, that set screw on the motor pretty much drops in that hole in the shaft because it's beveled. So I don't think that shaft's gonna push through or out through the motor. But the main purpose of the collar is to prevent the motor from pushing downward into the frame in a crash. So if you can, there's two fixes for this. Either leave it as it is, keep the main shaft, tighten that set screw pretty good, or what you can do is maybe with the file, you can kind of file an area or a little hole right there so that the set screw can kind of sit in there. It's unnecessary, to be honest. I don't think it's gonna move anywhere. At least it won't push all the way through because by the time it pushes through, I mean it probably already crashed and stopped. So another fix would be buying the entire main motor. I was going to. The new EVO motor is a bit taller so that the mounting point is actually lower. So instead of having since the motor on the EVO is a little bigger, it drops. It's a little lower the bolt hole so that main shaft actually drops where it should be, and that'll make it all fit the way it should. But if you don't want to buy a motor because that's already $50 into it, I mean you can just put this main shaft the way I did. The head will sit a little higher, but everything will work fine. It flies fine. If anything, I mean it's just no differences. I mean the head doesn't sit any higher than the Goosky one does, and that's motor, next to the motor. So I guess it sits a little higher, just a bit higher. But on its skids, it doesn't sit any higher than the Goosky does. It's level. It doesn't look weird, and it performs good. I could imagine it may set off your CGs just a bit. I mean, I'm not that good of a pilot to notice, anyways. But if you want to do it the right way, get the motor, the main shaft, and the head, and it'll work. And then I also used my EVO skids and the EVO tail boom. Pretty cool helicopter. It's a nice beater. And between the two helicopters, which one do I prefer? I think I'm gonna go with the Goosky. I think it's just nicer. It's got a nicer frame design. Same build quality though. Performance is pretty much the same. The tail on the Goosky is a little better though. Like I said, it holds better. It doesn't blow out like the M2 EVO does. M2 V2. The M2 EVO kind of fixed that problem. But still, I mean, it's just, I think they had a head start because they were able to kind of see and trial and error on other people's problems. But it's the same helicopter, to be honest. I mean, just get whatever you like. Aesthetic wise, they both kind of look the same, but I do prefer the S2. You can see that pretty much OMP, the M2 came out first over the S2, and it kind of seems like the Goosky took ideas from the M2. Like I said, I feel like maybe they're using the same manufacturer, same, I don't know, machine shop to build these things, because the quality is pretty much the same. You got that little block at the bottom, you got the 4-piece frame, the servo layout on this is completely different, but hey, they're both pretty cool. This one you have a rectangle boom, beefy boom, and the M2 you have is like inverted teardrop, that's what they call it. And yeah, I mean, on the M2 you'll see also on the EVO with the flybarless unit and ESC is cased in like a hybrid aluminum and plastic case. This is all plastic on the S2. You're gonna have some similarities here and there, but for the most part, I think that if you're gonna get one of these bigger ones, it doesn't matter which one you get. Just my opinion, I like the Goosky. It looks nicer. I like this type of style helicopter. I like these canopies. I think this canopy looks more modern. It looks pretty clean. This reminds me of a Logos helicopter. It's also very nice. It's not more my. I mean, it just depends on the flying style. And honestly, if you can have both, get both. But I'm not gonna bash on any of these two. I do like them both, and the only difference is that this one I found tails better. It feels a little more locked in. For some odd reason, I feel like it may be the blades. They're more narrow and a little bit longer, and these are a bit wider, so it feels floatier. So I think that the higher head speed on this one just makes it seem like it's more locked in comparison to this one. So just get both if you can. Thanks for watching.